Kia ora koutou katoa, kua hui hui mai nei ki tēnei kaupapa rangatira. Ka nui te harakoa ki a koutou e tēnei rā. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. No ingarangi o ku tūpuna, no ingarangi ahoi. Ke tāmaki makoro ahoi I noko ana. Nō reira, ka mihi, ki ngā maunga, ngā iwi, I ngā wahi tāpu o tāmaki. Ke krowha Aotearoa ahoi I mahi ana, ko Davis and tōku whānau, ko Emily tōku ingoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Emily Davidson and I am the Participation and Inclusion Manager for Golf New Zealand, and I am joined here today by Danielle Lowe and Dylan Lindstrom from Royal Wellington and from Pupaki Golf Club. Can I pass over to you two to have a wee short introduction of why you're here, where you're from, and why you're passionate about women and girls? Start with you, Lowe.
Okay, kia ora mai tātou katoa. My name is Lowe and I currently work at Pupaki Golf Club. I'm the Golf Operations Manager and Marketing Manager. My background's in advertising, but my passion is golf. So I've been looking for a few years to get into this industry, and now I'm here at Pupaki, and it's been a really, really fun year since I started. The main focus being around women and golf and increasing that participation. So I'm quite passionate about those kind of groups and building them up. So that's the focus that we've had as a club in the last year.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Kia ora everyone, I'm Dylan Lindstrom. I'm the General Manager at Royal Wellington Golf Club. I've been in the role just over 3 years and at the club for just over 8 years. One of the things that I'm really passionate about with growing women's golf is a great culture of mixed events that we've had at the club over the years, but unfortunately women's membership, like a lot of clubs, has stagnated and participation has dropped. So we're working really hard to champion that and to bring a little bit of balance back to the club again.
Awesome. Kia ora. So today we are here to talk about our ambition for women and girls and what that can mean for clubs and for our sector. So I thought we would start with talking about diversity and inclusion in its entirety, and then we can kind of hone in and speak about women and girls specifically. So Golf New Zealand launched our ambition for women and girls last August, and we have around 160 golf clubs and organisations that share this ambition, that women and girls are welcomed, valued and thriving in golf. And we're all working in the same direction to achieve the outcomes of this strategy. So we've been touring around all the regions and around the clubs doing this workshop to support clubs to plan and to kind of gather a united position on what we believe will help move the needle. And we've been requested that we record it. So club managers and volunteers can share it with their boards or their colleagues or their committees. So this is why Dylan and Lowe have joined me today, so we can do it and have a real good chat about some of the stuff within the plan. So Golf New Zealand, we exist to enrich lives through golf, and everything we do is about growing the love of golf and inspiring participation. And one of the things we inherently believe is that golf has the potential to be the most inclusive and accessible game for everyone in New Zealand. And while everyone who works in golf knows this, I always like to remind everyone of why it has this potential. And that is because our handicapping system means that anybody, regardless of age, gender, or ability, can participate together in golf in a way that is equitable. We have a diverse range of facilities in golf, from 18-hole to 9-hole to pitch and putt to driving ranges, mini golf, frisbee golf, foot golf. There's truly something for everybody to be able to take part in within our golfing family of facilities. And then we are having advancements in technology, so things like automated tee blocks, the para golfer, things like Top Tracer, meaning more people than ever before are continuing to play or get into the game of golf. However, even though our game is really inclusive by design, we do still have a bit of work to do around culture and the environment to ensure that those two things really match the inclusive design of our game. So when we're thinking about creating inclusive environments, it's always really important to start with thinking about diversity and inclusion in its entirety. So diversity meaning all of those elements or layers of diversity that make us unique from one another, and inclusion being how we interact with harmony, are treated respectfully, are treated fairly, and have equitable opportunities to participate, in this case in golf or society. Those layers of diversity are really important when we're thinking about sport, because it's our layers of diversity that will influence how we choose to engage with the game. And also the potential advantages or disadvantages that may occur based on our layers of diversity. As an example, a disabled woman may experience more barriers to participate in golf than a non-disabled woman, as example. So, because of thinking about all of those really unique elements that make us all unique from one another, we can't always take a universal approach, because a universal approach, so giving everyone the same thing, assumes everybody is starting on a level playing field, and they are not. So if we think about equality as giving everyone the same thing, and equity as giving everybody the same chance. So this is a really great illustration of equity and equality. So using the sport or recreation activity of cycling, you can see here that the little boy, he can't reach the pedals. Ironically, the lady, she's sweet, she's fine, she can ride that bike okay. The man is too big for the bike, and the lady who is using a wheelchair, she can't participate at all. But when we take an approach that is equity, so being able to adapt equipment in this case, everybody has the same chance to participate, including the lady using a wheelchair who has had an adapted bike. And then we've used different sizes for the man, the lady, and the child. So thinking about equality, giving people the same thing, we want to take the approach of equity where we give people the same chance. And I always like to remind people that when, based on human rights, you can't discriminate against people based on gender, but when a group is underrepresented, you can take a special equity measure. So in our case, women are underrepresented in golf. So things like women's only tee times, we would refer to as a special equity measure, and that is totally okay. So we believe that creating an inclusive culture benefits everyone. We know it does. And as an example, we can think about tee blocks. So tee blocks are a really tangible example that we all use when we play golf. Often they're referred to by gender, men's, women's, kids. We would advocate that gender is removed from tee blocks and that we call them your short course, forward tees, back tees, championship. And while we talk about this in the context of women, this actually benefits a wide range of people. If we think about potentially men that are elderly having to play from the back when they could benefit playing forward, we could think about disabled men. Maybe they play from the back, maybe they play from the front, but having that choice without a gendered stigma attached to them is really, really important. We have women that could easily play from the back, but they are the men's tees. And I always like to think if you're playing with, if I'm playing with a man, being able to play off the same tees, it makes the game a lot more social, a lot more enjoyable, and removing gender from this language removes any stigmas that might be associated with playing on them. So that is just a tangible example of an action we can take for women that actually benefits a really wide variety of people. Dylan, Loie, do you have any examples that you see in clubs or at your own clubs where it's an action that actually has benefited a really wide range of people?
Interesting on those tee blocks. We have a similar thing. All of our tee blocks are set up for everyone, and we're starting to use different language. We're not calling them men's tees, women's tees anymore. I think what our club does really well is we have equal tee times. So our men's day is a Wednesday and a Saturday, and they have really big chunks of men able to play at those times. But then our women, we actually have 4 different dedicated days to them, which is essentially the same amount or quantity of people as the men. So giving them the opportunity to play or permission to play in their own time with their own kind of groups of friends, makes it really, really enjoyable for them. And yeah, they're able to set up like their own competitions, and all play together, which is what it's all about.
And is there opportunity, Lo, to play in mixed genders? Because I know for me, I like the freedom and unrestricted access to play with who I want to play with. Do you have those options within your club, on the weekend in particular, where, you can play with the opposite sex throughout the day?
You can at particular times during that day. I'd say Sunday is probably our bigger day. But we are actually in conversations at the moment of how we can kind of have, okay, we'll have a women's field, a men's field on the Saturday, and maybe a mixed field in between. So it just opens it up for everyone. Friday is kind of our unofficial mixed day where lots of partners play together with their friends. We obviously have twilight in summer, so it makes for a more sociable afternoon and golfing environment.
So with that in mind, the ability to play with both genders, which is becoming the thing, Dylan, you've made some changes at your club that really allow everyone to play together and compete together for the most part.
Yeah, like a lot of clubs, we used to have a lot of dedicated men's events and a lot of dedicated women's events, and then a sprinkling of mixed events, which were really well patronised and really popular. We have moved away. We have a few men's exclusive events, a few women's exclusive events, and the majority of our events are now gender neutral and focus on this type of golf that people want to play. So it's a serious golfers event. So we encourage serious golfing men and serious golfing women and serious golfing juniors to come and participate. Or it's a social event, and we want women, men, and children that want to play golf in a social environment to come and participate in those events. With the world handicapping system now, being able to play men and women against each other equitably, but also men on different sets of tees and women on different sets of tees has really changed the dynamic in those events as well.
It's a really key action, having all tees rated for both genders.
Yeah, and people, if they're a serious golfer, and it doesn't really matter if they're a man or a woman, to be honest, they
exactly
have the same outlook and they get along really well and enjoy each other's company for that round of golf. So it's really important.
Yeah, and the ability to just play from where you want with who you want.
Yep. Sometimes we have 3 women in a group with 1 man. Sometimes it's 3 men with 1 woman. Sometimes it's all men or all women. So we get the full range within these events as well, which is cool.
And isn't that just something that's so beautiful about our sport, is that the world handicapping system means that it's equitable regardless.
It's been a fantastic outcome of the change in the handicapping system, is just that it takes away extra adjustments that we used to have to make in the background, where it was still treated quite separately. Now it's just, you're a golfer, play golf.
Absolutely. And
Dylan, can I just jump in with a question around, did you face any challenges in getting to that point, or could you talk us through the steps of how you got to that point?
So predominantly it was probably men's events that we started with, where we took away, if there was no reason for it to be a men's event, then we made it gender neutral. There was a little bit of trepidation from both sides, from men and from women, but nothing verbalized or really forceful. It was, people were just a little bit unsure of how it would play out. Initially, there weren't a lot of women that wanted to come and play in these events, but as time's gone on, it's just become quite smooth, and it's quite an organic change, really. So not a lot of roadblocks, really. It was literally just one day we said, we're going to change it. And we just looked at it event by event. Does this need to be a men's event, or does this need to be a women's event? Or can we just open it up? And a lot of the time, if it's undersubscribed, you're just increasing your field size. So it's pretty hard to argue about keeping a small field and excluding people. If it's oversubscribed, you might have a better chance of arguing that.
I think it's something that's really important for the present and future of golf is looking at those competition structures, as historically the men's tournament has been on a Saturday and women's on a Tuesday or a Thursday. But if women have highly restricted access on a Saturday, so there are some golf clubs that still exist where, you know, women can play in the small window in the morning, often when school sport is on, that kind of small window, and then can't play in the Saturday afternoon. If those women are paying the same price for membership, which by the way, they should be, they're actually having a lot less access for their membership, and they're buying the same product, but they have less access. And I think it's something that we should be taking a proactive approach to and putting changes in place instead of being later reactive that we need to address access to create equity. So those big Saturday chunks that women can't access will become a problem and are a bit of a problem. And I know a lot of golf courses are working at the moment to ensure that there is no restricted access for women, which had, you know, way historically been the case. I think it's important to note as well that with the word culture, we often think about people and we think about our members and how they influence the culture, but culture is made up of many different culture levers. So think about it's the things that we see, it's the things that we hear, it's the things that we're told, and it's the things that we do. And I think lots of different things can contribute to culture. And so sometimes we think shifting culture is this really big dial that we need to move, but there are some really small things we can put in place, even down to the things that you see. You know, I always think the things that you see tell you what's valued around here. So, you know, if you come into a golf club and you come to a competition and the women's prize table is a bottle of wine and a bag of balls, and the men's is the significant flash prizes, or, you know, going into a pro shop and there's no women's clothing in there, they're quite loud messages of what's valued around here. And they're kind of small, visible things that we can do quick. And then there's other things that will take longer to shift the dial on. But thinking about what you can see, what you're told, what you do, what the service that you receive, and the actions that are taken in the club, as well as those systems and structures within the club, all contribute towards culture.
Just on the pro shop, Emily, our pro shop is 70% women's product, 30% men's. And that's largely because of the target audience. The women actually spend more. It's a reality. And yeah, most of our business comes off the women's clothing side of things.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, so well, we've spoken about all those actions that we can take actually influence everyone or provide a positive impact for everyone. To be able to make changes or enhance the experience for a particular group that we're focusing on, in this case, women and girls, we need to know a little bit about them. We need to know what they want, what they don't like, and really hear what they are saying. And we're very fortunate with the women and girls space that we have a lot of insights and data to draw from both international insights, research, and trials, as well as nationally, all of the insights we've been able to gather through member surveys, through participant surveys. We have a lot, which is really great because it means we can make really well-informed decisions as we move forward. So I've blocked you with all of our heads on the screen, but I'll talk us through. So from a national perspective, we have around 21% of our membership is made up of women. Of our registered casual golfers, so these are people that are registered that don't have a handicap, 16% of those are women. 17% of our juniors are made up of girls, and we had around 2,500 women participate in She Loves Golf last year. Normally those numbers are higher, but due to COVID and other circumstances, it's just been a little bit lower last year. On average, women play more golf. So women are playing on average 29 rounds of golf per year, with men playing 26, but that could be something to do with the average age of women. So 86% of women in golf are aged over 50, comparatively to 63% of men in golf are aged over 50. So we know that women are underrepresented, and they're particularly on average older than men in our membership categories as well. The workforce is pretty reflective. So 29% of General Managers Association are women, 18% of PGA members are women. When you break that down to those, so they have lots of different categories. When you break that down to whom is actually a member, it comes down to about 4%. So 4% of our PGA members are women. And then we've got 1% of the New Zealand Golf Course Superintendents Association are women. And I think that works out about three women. However, presents a humongous opportunity because 50% of our population are women. And all of those women could be experiencing the benefits that golf bring us. So that has just taken me really, really far. Sorry, we'll go back. So women have told us the barriers that they perceive to playing golf are having somebody to play with, time and cost, which come to no surprise. The top 3 things that attract women to golf are playing with their friends and family, being outdoors in nature, and health and exercise. So we can really begin to leverage those insights on how we design and develop initiatives or experiences for women. I always put this one in there for any PGA professionals or coaches out there. 58% of women had no preference of the gender of their coach. Sometimes we think that women want women coaches, which may be true sometimes, but also a lot of women have said they have no preference. And I'm sure given that the coach does provide a meaningful and relevant experience to them. 65% of women said they wanted to play golf all year round as well. We've historically encouraged She Loves Golf events during summer, and now we work across the entire year with clubs because women still do want to participate. We've got, it's horrible weather outside and we still have lots of She Loves Golf events happening across the country, which is really awesome. Young women. So this is some insights we have from Sport New Zealand. So this isn't about golf, this is about sport and recreation as a whole. But they told us that they want to have fun and socialize, that they want to feel safe to participate and not feel judged. They want to keep fit and healthy. They want to have confidence in what they're doing, and they want activities that fit around that other commitments. So this is what young women are telling us. So when we think about golf being a game that's 4 hours long, and young girls typically telling us that they've got no one to play with, you can see why it might be a bit of a deterrence to play golf. So I think having this really cool social experience within golf for young women is really, really important. And all girl experiences are really important for young women as well. We also asked women what would help and what would encourage them to play more. Keep moving us around. They said that they wanted pay-as-you-play events, and we're having a lot of we're seeing a lot of success with pay-as-you-play events across the country. We obviously have She Loves Golf, so a lot of them are She Loves Golf initiatives, but a lot of events that are really successful across the country aren't branded with She Loves Golf. They're really, really awesome too, but I still refer to everything as She Loves Golf, so remind me on that. But we have a lot of clubs trialing She Loves Golf Twilight, and they run this in many different formats. It can be putting on a timer for an hour and a half, and the women are going around and playing, and they start experiencing success based on how many holes they've played versus how many shots they've taken, which is really awesome. And other twilights have been set up 3, 6 or 9 hole options, and women are kind of building their confidence to play more holes as they go around. Normally $15, $20 a time to come and play, and always, whenever we brand something with She Loves Golf, we do really see a different tribe of women playing. They tend to be under 50, and they usually come in a pack. They usually bring all their mates with them, or they make friends while they're at an event and then they bring them to the next one. We also have seen a lot of success with these kind of regional series where clusters of clubs host an event each, and women rotate around them, and they get to try different golf courses and have lots of different experiences. And again, they all take their friends and rotate around them. This pay-as-you-play option seems very, very popular, and as per our insights have suggested. They want more friends to play with. They want flexible playing options, and this really does start drawing down into that conversation around tee time accessibility. If people on average play golf once a month, and as a woman I can only play on a Sunday maybe at some clubs, I'm probably going to become a green fee player because I work during the week. So after work I could only play in the summer, which leaves me down to a Sunday in the winter. And then I'm probably just going to pay as I play. So really that tee time flexibility is really important. And as a beginner, Membership is actually really cool as a beginner. I know we say that often think that women or men don't want membership when they're starting out, but the great thing about being a member is you can play as many holes as you want. You know, you really can go out and play 3 or 4 or 5, whichever loops back to the clubhouse to get practice in. I think we need to tell that narrative better, because that's how you get better, by playing, right? And sometimes if you're buying a 9-hole or an 18-hole green fee and you're not going to play 9 or 18 holes, you kind of don't want to spend the money on it, which is a weird mindset thing. So I think membership has this really awesome opportunity for newbies to be able to play as many holes as they like. They wanted membership options that include social playing experiences and coaching. We've trialed this with many different clubs and they go nuts, like they get sold so well. And I think about Munkakiki being an example. They put together a really great She Loves Golf pathway from introductory to coaching. And then they offered a 3-month membership and a 12-month membership. And they have 120 women in those introductory membership categories. And historically, we would see a She Loves Golf introductory event have a handful of women follow into a more permanent or long-term category. 120 is humongous. So that packaged option is really appealing to women as well. The 3 most important things when choosing a club: having a friend or family member at the club, friendly staff and good customer service. And again, tea time and availability and flexibility comes up time and time again. I'd love to unpack the customer service. I think we should go into a little bit more detail on that on a survey or with some focus groups, but that's another one that comes up. And this slide has got a lot of writing on it. I did just want to draw your attention to a club member experience survey compared with all sports. So this was all sports were asked the same question. Female golf respondents are less likely to agree that their club treats all people equally regardless of gender, which I thought was quite an interesting and powerful statement. Shows that we do have work to do in the club environment. We run these really amazing She Loves Golf, and I say we, the clubs, we're all a big team, run these She Loves Golf experiences, and sometimes then the club environment doesn't match the experience. So I think addressing that club environment as well is super important if we're to retain these women in our game. So with all of that in mind, we created our women and girls strategy. We're super, super proud of She Loves Golf. We see heaps of club engagement. We see so many participants. We're seeing anywhere from 50 to 120 women turn up to She Loves Golf events now. And on average, when we first started, it was around, and that was 7 years ago, 18. So the growth and demand is going through the roof. But we wanted to ensure that all the systems and structures that surrounded that engagement met their needs as well. So we created our ambition for women and girls, which is a strategy with 6 outcomes. And the purpose really was 2 steps. We asked clubs, do you share our ambition? 160 of them said yes. The second step is to take action. And that action really is about, it could be something really simple, one thing that contributes towards the outcomes of the plan, or some clubs are doing quite in-depth plans. And that is really up to the club to decide. We're not scripting or being prescriptive on what clubs need to do. We're just providing guidance on what they could do. And then you work that out with your board or your committees or your staff to see what your capacity will allow and resource will allow you to undertake. So the plan has 6 outcomes, 1 around participation, 2 around the club environment, 3 around the profile of the game, 4 around our competitive players, 5 around skilled leadership and workforce, and 6 is around our business, us leading by example. But the 2 outcomes we'd really love clubs to think about as a starting point is the opportunities to learn and play and the golf club facilities and environment. So they're the 2 we're going to have a chat about today. So outcome 1, opportunities to learn and play golf in a way that suits the needs and preferences of a range of women and girls. So because we can't, as Golf New Zealand, do anything, it's our clubs that ultimately nurture the experiences for women and girls. We sat with we believe statements because this helps us all create a collective position on what we believe the environment could and should like for women. So I'm not going to read them all out, but I thought that maybe we could pick 2 and have a wee chat around them. So Loie, Dylan, if you want to pick out two and we'll just chat to a couple of them?
I'll talk to that inclusive learning and playing environments.
Yep.
So we obviously support the ambition, but also credit to Golf New Zealand for creating, the She Loves Golf product that the clubs can actually pick up and run with. So that's exactly what we've done. We're using the She Loves Golf product. We've created an environment where ladies from any demographic can come along and play. And so what we did for that is we blocked off half of the course. We created a program where they come to learn to play for an hour. Then they come, and once they're finished that, they come and have like cheese platters and free drinks. So it gives them a chance to socialize and make new friends. That's what we all want. And then above and beyond that, we also at the same time had 6 holes running for, I guess, the more familiar kind of golfers. So maybe once they finish their program, they can go and do 2 or 3 holes or beforehand. So we actually had a fantastic turnout for our first time doing that. We had over 100 ladies on a Tuesday afternoon coming to participate. But just giving them that permission to come along, and they know that it's women only. We did actually have 3 out of the 4 coaches were females, but as you said, it didn't actually matter. And also our volunteers or our actual members came along and helped as well, and they were also females and males. And the ladies actually preferred the males on some of those cases, but the whole club environment was very welcoming, and they just loved it. And then the after effect of that was they joined that introductory membership program. I know that a few of them have already created groups of their own, so they're all on WhatsApp groups. So they've continued that friendship since meeting at these programs, and continued that learning progression, which has been really awesome.
Love that. And I think the key there, though, is you really did put in and now what? And now what for them, right? They were learning, and now what? Oh, I can be part of the 6s. Oh, and now what? I can be part of this introductory membership, because the leap between learning and becoming a full member and being pushed out there by yourself is so big, that process of having a network of people or a tribe of people that you're learning and playing with, and having a next step to kind of guide you to potentially becoming one day, playing more regularly, is so important.
Yeah, exactly. And also interesting, to your point before about playing in winter. So we created the She Loves Golf programs through winter, and we're still getting the same number of people, even though we can't do after work hours. We're doing Sunday mornings, and we're also doing Tuesday lunchtimes, knowing that, lots of people working from home now. The uptake on that has been just as many ladies. So it definitely
want to play all year round. Yeah.
Rain, hail, or shine, they're there.
You can lose the momentum stopping in winter. Like people lose their momentum. So being able to kind of have those touch points throughout winter is so crucial to keeping up with the game, right? And keeping practicing. I think one of the things that was really integral to that retention or providing relevant experiences ongoing is you were pretty quick to give that group their next option, right? Like you didn't dilly around for ages. It was very much like, hey, you've signed up for this, and actually here's a couple of things that you might want to consider later on, or as they go. So you gave them a lot of options to continue to participate.
Yeah, and that was just through talking to them, like in those sessions, in the picnic sessions after the lessons, talking to them. That's what they wanted. They wanted options. So it was very easy to cater to them when you hear what they want. So
nice. So that's that continuously consulting with women will help you design a product that meets their needs, right?
Exactly.
And I think while we're on the continuously consulting with women, often when we make any changes or enhancements or decisions based on women, we consult our membership, which is excellent. But remembering that on average, 86% of our membership who are women are over the age of 50. You have a part of a voice, but we need to consider also a wider range of participants as well. And that's where you can use our insights, or you can do what Loie has done, whereby running the programs and having a constant feedback loop to help you design or make decisions based on the club, so that you've got a really, really wide and diverse range of input when you are making those decisions.
Yeah, and just on like that younger demographic, what really helped was visually the marketing that we did. It showed people in that younger demographic. And when I talk about hearing their voices at those sessions, the younger group were like, it was definitely the marking. Someone looked like me, and I thought, actually, I'm being given permission to come and play. And that's exactly what they wanted. They've been wanting to get into golf for a while. Their partners play golf. I want to play golf too.
Themselves there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think imagery and storytelling is so important, and for women to see themselves represented within that imagery, someone that looks like me, that plays like me, it is so, so important. So having that diverse range of ages, ethnicities, abilities is so great for people to resonate with. And obviously you also then grabbed yourself some commercial partners across your event as well, which I think was really, really appealing to the eye too.
Yes, it was, and that was targeted at that younger demographic as well. So
yeah. And so to clubs that don't have anyone at that club, from a marketing perspective, Golf New Zealand will design and do your marketing with and for you. So no need to think, oh my goodness, I don't have somebody like Loie that can do all this design and marketing work. We're here to support you with that as well. Dylan, anything you want to unpack on that, we believe?
Yeah, look, the It's Okay rules is pretty dear to my heart. My background was in coaching golf, so I see this all the time. My observation has been that men overestimate their ability when they're starting golf, and women underestimate their ability. That seems to be the common observation, and probably backed up by some data as well. So there's a lot of trepidation about I'm not good enough to do this.
Yeah.
And golf is a really, really hard sport to learn. It takes a really long time. So I've had to educate my members, my existing women members, who have, they learned the game so long ago that they've forgotten just how long that journey's been for them. So teaching them before every session that we do with our learner women that, it's okay to use your hand wedge. When you get in the bunker, have a go, and have a couple of goes and then just throw it on the green. To use a tee for every shot. We talk a lot about, success in over 9 holes is hitting 3 shots that you can remember. They think they need to hit every shot really, really well. So we get them to count those 3 shots. When my wife came along to this, the second outing, she said to me, I've started keeping score. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, this week we did 3 holes instead of 2, which I thought was really cool. So people start asking questions, and those are those coachable moments. If they start asking about a rule or how I should do something differently, or how to let a group through, that's the right time when they start becoming curious. But when you're starting, just keeping the game as simple as possible, because really they just want to spend time with friends and be out in nature doing an activity. So we try to keep the focus on that.
I love that. And that is what these women are telling us that they want. If we go back to, we're motivated or attracted to golf because we want to spend time with our friends and family. We want better health and well-being outcomes, and we want to be outdoors in nature. And they're the 3 primary motivators. So if we can feed that initially, like you say, that querying or curiosity comes organically. I think about my own journey when I first started playing golf, five years ago. I definitely didn't want to wear golf attire because I felt like I had all the gear with no idea. I felt real imposter syndrome about it. I just wanted to wear, my tights and maybe what I would wear to the gym. And I wanted to play 3 to 6 holes because that was enough for me. I had an attention span of an hour and a half, and I played the It's Okay rules, and it made that my starting out so much more enjoyable. And now 5 years on, I'm putting my scorecard in, I'm chasing that handicap, I'm practicing at the range, I wear a skirt and I wear like my cute golf gear and I feel good. But I had to go on that journey myself. I think if there was anyone enforcing, and I call them competition rules because recreationally on a Sunday, I don't think they should matter, but enforcing sort of the kind of competition rules on me would have frightened me away a little bit. So having that freedom, and like you say, Dylan, you do naturally start getting curious, and you know, if I wanted to go and play in a competition now, there's a different step for me where I'm going to ask different questions, but I've asked them, and that's the most important thing. So I love that. I love that approach, that organic curiosity that comes of playing and being part of it more.
There's something that we've spoken about a lot, which keeps coming through, is that permission to play, and women really seek that permission. And since yourself and Loie really highlighted that to me, now I see that a lot more. I notice it in the women that are coming along. So just reinforcing that all the time. It's okay to do this. It's okay. It's okay to not be great at golf every time you come out or every time you swing the club, because it's really hard. So just reinforcing. You can get a lot of enjoyment from golf without having to keep score or play by the rules. So,
and you know, I think that's something that She Loves Golf did really well. It did give women permission. We use the word permission so purposefully, and it's not, it might not be a nice word, but it's so right, you know, having that permission to be there. And that She Loves Golf brand or logo gave women that permission to be there, to play the It's Okay rules, to wear your active wear, to take a more relaxed and social approach to golf. And I think that's something, it created a whole new tribe of people playing. And I think that's something really special. And, you know, as we're working with women going from It's Okay rules, this is why we developed the Are You Feeling Ready to Hand in Your Scorecard guide, because there are, based on the World Handicapping System, some things you can do that will make your life a little bit easier and get around the golf course quicker, while still, based on the World Handicapping System, able to hand your scorecard in. You know, and I think if anyone can take one thing away from that, it's, you know, if you're 5 shots over par, just pick it up. You know, no one wants to be shooting 15, 16, you know, it's long, it's demoralizing. So, you know, there is a max score. Just being able to pick up is a really big one. And one I personally find really helpful is still being able to tee it up on the fairway. If I hit a duff drive, like the ability to tee it up and hit a 5-wood from there, it really helps me. And that's something that I'm really grateful to be able to do. And do you know what? I actually do that a lot less now. But there was a period where I was teeing up a lot on the fairway. And again, it's that organic growth, right? I actually don't need to do that anymore as you start to progress. So as we can help people transition into whatever version of golf they want to be playing. With that in mind, we have many initiatives to help that transition. Often we sometimes can see beginner 9-hole events. 9-hole events are really long if you're a beginner. As you two will know, when you put them on, they can be quite tedious for the participant. And, you know, no one wants to take 3 hours to play 9 holes. It's just not a positive experience. So we've just kind of set up a bit of a guide. And this isn't all inclusive guide. There's so many events and initiatives that sit outside of this, but you know, if you're brand new to golf, what event might be appropriate to run for those new people, or what might be appropriate to choose as a newbie. And as you become a little bit more familiar and you're playing a little bit more, things like Twilight and Sixes and those sort of short membership packages become more and more relevant and meaningful to you. And when you're getting confident, you might be ready to put your scorecard in. That's when those kind of 6 and 9-hole options might become a lot more appealing, in Twilight and things like that. And that's by no means saying that every single person goes through this exact linear pathway, because they don't. Some people might jump straight into 9 holes, and that's totally okay. But often, you know, when we are marketing a initiative to a particular group, making sure that experience matches their confidence level or preference is an important thing. So that's just a really small guide of what initiatives might suit certain different groups. Okay, golf clubs and facilities. So our second outcome was around golf clubs and facilities having an inclusive environment for women and girls. Again, something that we wanted to create a collective position around. There were certain things that we thought were a really big opportunity for the women and girls space in the golf club environment. So maybe we take the same approach. Shall we maybe pick out one or two that we might have a wee chat around?
Yeah, I like the one around the decision making and also around leadership in government. I like it because I have a good example. At the club, yeah, our women are quite influential at the club, and in those leadership positions. We used to have 50-50 male-female representation on the board. Last year, I think, or the year before, we were the club captain was a female, the vice captain was a female, and then we had the women's director. That's changed now. One of the ladies actually left, so it's 2-4. But they're very they're leaders amongst our group of members. And in terms of like the decision making process, each of the different groups or within that female contingent are very vocal, and they always come to the party. Our golf committee has more females than males. Yeah, so it's been really excellent since I've been there, getting all their opinions and advice, and yeah, they're speaking on behalf of all of the other women, and I'm sure they get even more opinions from them as well. So yeah, it's really cool to have them in the decision making process.
And Laura, your club actively seek out the input and opinions and perspectives of groups that you don't necessarily have represented at the golf club, right? So, you know, I know you've done your millennial focus groups, you've done focus groups with young women. So while you might not have the perspective, you've got a really great gender representation on your boards and committees, but any kind of voice that's not potentially represented, you actively go out and seek, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And we just had Harbour Sports support us in a Have Your Say focus group evening with the membership.
Yeah.
And even in that, you saw both genders very well represented. And it was really cool. And it was great for the members to be able to, you know, have their voice heard, and having someone outside of the organisation come in and be that conduit between the club and the members was also quite valuable.
Nice. Dylan, anything in there that strikes out for you?
I think we've made some progress in our governance, and we're bringing more and more women on board. We've still got a way to go on that journey, but one thing I'm really proud of in our club is our culture and access is very gender neutral, so women can play every opportunity, and the culture is really, really warm to men and women playing. So it's really nice environment to be in without the friction that can that has been there in the past.
Yeah, and
exists in some other clubs as well, no, undoubtedly. And a very small amount in our club still as well, but we're starting to really move past that, and it's quite refreshing.
What are your views on committees? Should there be a men's committee and a women's committee, or should there be one committee with equal representation?
You've put me on the spot here because I have a women's committee as well as a club committee, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but yeah, my view is there should just be a committee for the club, and it should be equally represented, and that's what we're working towards. But there are some roadblocks that we've got to work through to get there, and you've just got to be mindful of why those things existed in the first place, and how particularly how some of the women feel about them as well. If we were to go and remove the women's committee, I think it would upset our existing women's membership, and that's certainly not something that we want to do. So equally in parallel with that, we've got to start working towards the future as well. So we're running two things in tandem at the moment. Yeah,
nice. I think that's a good way to go. And I think, you know, none of these changes or opportunities happen overnight. You know, there are some clubs we've worked with, and it's been years. And now they're really reaping some really cool rewards, and have got full member buy-in, and but they're not these. Whenever you're doing things that shift culture a little bit, they take a long time. They're not an instant reward thing. And I also do think one of the challenges we do have in golf is that it's balancing the its integrity of the game and the traditions of the game, and those people that love the tradition, because that's not wrong. That's such a beautiful core part of the history of our game and what the game is. But balancing that with these newer, younger people that potentially want something very, very different, and finding the right balance of those two groups is really hard.
Agree with that.
I think we already spoke to these sort of membership structures and playing structures that are gender neutral. So, having, membership categories based on lifestyle, and unrestricted access for both men and women to participate at the club. I'll use Mangakiki again, as Hugo was going to be here, and he sends his apologies. But, when Hugo looked at changing his membership categories, because women were paying slightly less than men, but were having less access. And the club decided that they wanted to have unrestricted access for both men and women. And they wanted to be able to have membership categories based on lifestyle, to meet a wider need of a wider group of people that would like to join the club. So when they put that change into place, one of the things that become a roadblock was the competition on a Saturday was a men's competition. And when they were to change the membership categories, so gender neutral, both men and women paying the same price, they had to then go and address this Saturday to build the club, a club day instead of a men's competition. And that's something that they've been working really, really hard on. And they've changed the membership categories to be based on lifestyle, not based on gender. And they've made their Saturdays, like you, Dylan, open to both genders to be able to participate. And now they're actively working and encouraging women to participate in that club event, and also the culture of that club event as well. So their kind of work hasn't stopped there. They're still really focusing on it. I think that's a really nice story of ensuring that everybody can access things, or events and competitions and tea times at the club, and a couple of structural changes they had to make to be able to put that in place. Any others?
Activewear, Emily?
Well, look, we very purposely use the word activewear. So, this is your sportswear, right? It's your trainers, potentially your tights, what you might go on a walk, or, I wear when I go for a coffee and a walk. Being able to wear those things on the golf course, particularly when you're starting out. Not everyone has golf attire. Not everybody wants to wear golf attire. I don't love wearing collars. It's just a preference. I don't own many things with collars. I like to wear a round neck. And as we're seeing more women on the LPGA wearing round necks and really nice skirts and things like that, just seeing clubs sort of shift towards that. I always think about, potentially a young girl or a woman watching women on tour and seeing what they wear, which is starting to become, really fashionable, really lovely. And some golf clubs still not letting them wear that. I can't connect the two. But I think the point is people being able to have choice in what they wear. I like I said before, I wear golf wear now. I wear my round neck, I wear my golf skirt, I've got golf shoes. If there's anything I'd ever recommend to anyone to buy when they're playing golf, is golf shoes. Life-changing when it's wet. But being able to wear what you want. And people, again, like we spoke about, those organic curiosity and querying when you're learning golf, you eventually start building some confidence or interested in what you're wearing. But giving people the freedom to wear what they feel comfortable in, I just think is so important.
And I think you're right. You start out just wearing what you have and what you're comfortable in, but you do start assimilating to your environment. I'm sure as people take up cycling within a set period of time, suddenly they're all wearing lycra and dressing like it's the Tour de France. So I think the same thing happens in golf, but it just takes time to get there. So it shouldn't be a barrier for people to come along and give it a try. So we certainly support it here at Royal Wellington as well.
Awesome. The other one I'll just make note to is the zero tolerance approach to discriminatory behavior. And this again this isn't a gender thing. This is a club thing, and it's having a process to respond to any discriminatory behavior that might happen within a golf club. I've had examples of use of tereo being used, and some resistance or friction around that, or certain things happening on the golf course. Or I think having a really good member code of conduct in place is really important, because it allows you to have a set process when not saying these things will arise, but if they do, anything arises within your golf club, whether that be about ethnicity, gender, age, whatever that looks like, having a process, because if you don't have a process, it's actually then just up to you and your judgment. And I think that sometimes that's not a good thing. Having a set process is really, really important. We are going to develop an example with some best bits. We're working with some clubs at the moment to gather all the really great code of conducts and kind of building one that the clubs can use. But it's not something that every club has in place, and it's something that might be really helpful. Awesome. So with our ambition, Golf New Zealand has our actions. All of our team have actions that they are taking to work towards the plan, and the sector is as well. So those 160 clubs that share our ambition, and districts and organisations, we're all working together to create action. And so some clubs have said, hey, here's one thing I'm going to do, and they're off and they're doing it, and other clubs have created action plans, and both, as I say, are both really, really impactful. So build your plan based on capability resource within the club. And what I'm going to do is ask Dylan and Loie to share their action plans, just a summary of where they've come from and where they're going, in a way that contributes towards our ambition, as we all work together for it. So maybe Loie, we'll start with you. Yeah, if you want to head in.
Yeah, sure. So if we just kind of look at overall membership, a year ago, we were sitting at maybe 600 members. The board really took a step back in terms of strategy and how to future-proof the club. So when I came in with my marketing background, we kind of identified 3 areas that we wanted to grow. And that was, if you just go to the next slide, Emily, it was our junior category, women's category, and also millennial. So when we say millennial, that's the 19 to 30-year-old demographic. So with our juniors, we started maybe a year ago, we had about 50 juniors. And since then, we've built a junior program. So it's providing juniors, but also girls, giving them kind of unique opportunities to come and learn to play golf. So we've built out this pretty robust junior program that covers things like the school holiday program, after school program, going into schools as well, and then just our normal club days. So building it out and then creating events and fun events for these kids to participate in. We're sitting at now, we've doubled our membership. We're at just under 100. So people are starting to catch on, and we get lots of inquiries around that junior program just through word of mouth. Our juniors at the moment, they just won the North Harbour Junior League, and the word around town was that this junior program at Pupuki is becoming very popular, and we get so many inquiries around that. So that was the benefit of creating opportunities for kids to learn. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. The next kind of step we want to do for the juniors is create more family opportunities. So they're not just playing with kids as well, so they get to play with their family. And then if we push on to one of our other actions, which was around She Loves Golf. So women, we were sitting at, I think we were 150 about a year ago, and now we've got around 250 female members. So that uptake has been excellent, and it's pretty much been off the back of the She Loves Golf program, giving them those opportunities to play, and also, like we said, that they're seeing themselves represented in marketing and communications. We've got a very inclusive environment for them. So yeah, off the back of that, our membership has increased. And then we already kind of talked to the gender stigma around the T blocks, which again is just creating that inclusive environment. And then in terms of like next steps for us, we'd be looking to do a similar thing to Mangakiki, around those giving equal opportunities on the Saturday, so you can play whenever you like. And then also similar to what Royal Wellington is doing around having more mixed events and removing that stigma away from those. So that's kind of where we're sitting at the moment. Yeah, pretty eager to keep going. Was there another page there, Emily?
No, and that's really great. I will show your video. And what I really love, Loie, is that Pupaki is looking at the participation side of the game. So growing the engagement of women through She Loves Golf and marketing and communications, but also behind the scenes addressing the club structural systems and structures that are in place to ensure that all of these women that you're bringing into the golf club, their ongoing experiences is matched through those structures that you set up within the club. So I think that's a really lovely balance of action that you're taking. I will share a video.
She Loves Golf is an initiative encouraging women of all ages and abilities to come out and give golf a go. It's all about having fun, social, enjoyable experiences out on the golf course. She Loves Golf has made golf more inclusive for women because it really takes the old school traditional perception of golf and flips it on its head, makes it super casual, super social. You can go out there, kind of play as many holes or as few holes as you want, get to meet heaps of different women that are kind of on the same playing field as you. You can wear what makes you feel comfortable out on course, and it's just really trying to show women that golf is a sport for you and a sport for everyone. Pupaki Golf Club has been awesome putting on great She Loves Golf initiatives. So like behind me, we've got a 4-week coaching experience. It's for women that are completely new to golf and want to try and get into it, but also for women that have done a little bit of golf before and want to get back into it or want to meet other women out there playing golf too. Pupaki Golf Club has also started doing She Loves Golf sixes every week. So allowing women to come and play just 6 holes, really socially, really casually. Again, you don't need to be an amazing player to come and play She Loves Golf sixes or any of the She Loves Golf events. It's just about having fun and giving it a go.
She Loves Golf 4-week program that we're running at the moment. We've done it at the end of 2021 and we've started another group in 2022. 2021 was really successful. We wanted 10 people to do it. We ended up getting 120 registrations, and at that time we only had resources to fill 50 spots. And it was so successful that we pretty much went to multiply by 4 and got four coaches on board, and now we're able to facilitate 100 ladies plus for the 4-week program each time. We've had lots of groups from each of the different sessions come together, and we've put like different people, with kind of like-minded people and then different people, and they've all come together. So even if they're in different sessions, they all meet in the one picnic spot at the end of the sessions, and they're all together having a drink and having a laugh. So much so that they've started doing She Loves Golf sixes together. They rejoined this year in the same groups, and they're all forming these friendships which are going to last a lifetime, and you can see that already.
Yeah, it's awesome to meet some new people. Obviously, I'm not from here, I'm from the States, so it's good to meet new people, and it's good to really get that coaching to help refine skills that haven't really worked on in a long time.
Probably a post-COVID sort of wanting to get outside, hang with the friends. Yeah, there's a group of maybe 7 or 8 of us doing it together. So yeah, good fun.
That's probably the main part for me, being able to do it with friends and just learn. So then we're kind of all at the same level, know the same tricks and gain the same skills.
I think it's good, like each week working on like something different, because obviously everyone has like different strengths, and like I really struggle with aiming, and so it's nice to kind of be quite focused on something each week, you know, and like having something to work towards.
It's always embarrassing hearing yourself talk back.
Horrible, isn't it? Whenever I do something that's recorded, every time I watch it, I start getting more and more of a complex.
Yeah, I just had to press mute for that bit because I just didn't want to hear myself talk.
So that's a video that we helped Pupaki create to showcase all of the awesome stuff that they're doing at the golf club. That's a short version, and there's also a long case study version that talks about how the initiatives were marketed and delivered in a little bit more detail as well. And it's something, as part of our ambition, Golf New Zealand are committed to sharing a industry story every month through our member newsletter, through our sector newsletter. And this was an example of one of them, of the awesome work that's happening in the sector. Thanks, Lloyd. Dylan.
Right. About 4 years ago, we realised that our women's membership numbers were dropping. They were certainly stagnant, and new people coming into the club, it was overwhelmingly men. And like a lot of clubs, what we had in place was a 5 or 6 week introduction to golf, a series of lessons, which took them from day one through to getting out on the golf course. And it was really fantastic. It was really, really good. But beyond that, the next step was full membership. And there was just such a gulf. Our conversion rate to membership was okay, but our retention was terrible. After a year, there just weren't the opportunities for them, and they were leaving golf. So about 3 years ago, I wrote a women's pathway for our club and put in what we have currently, and then to highlight really to our committees where the missing steps were. And the pillars we used were membership or access to the club, coaching, and playing opportunities. And what we realized straight away, like most clubs, if you're already a golfer, we have good systems and membership options and access in place. If you're learning the game, there is very, very limited tools available for your access available. So we started a program about 18 months ago called, She Loves Golf programs, called 9 and Wine. And on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, we have a whole lot of women turn up. We were getting between 20 and 50 each Sunday. We were doing it once a month, and we would spend some time down with a couple of coaches, teaching those that had never done it before how to hold the club, how to stand, those that had been just giving a little bit of help and advice. And then we were corralling them all onto the golf course, sending them out for 2 hours on the golf course, using the It's Okay rules. And they would start playing Ambrose or rotate golf, and then that would morph into playing their own golf ball, and then perhaps reverting back to Ambrose if they felt like it, and then meeting in the clubhouse afterwards for a glass of wine. 18 months on, we've got about 250 women on our database now that have been through and given this a go. Some have tried it and they enjoy it. We expect to see them through the warmer months, and that's about the extent of what they want to do. Some of them, last Sunday, I had 11. It was pouring with rain. They were about the only people on the golf course. All of our regular golfers had gone in, and I had to drag them off the golf course. They were so keen. It was really cool. So where we're at now is trying to increase even further the playing opportunities for them. We've gone to 9 and Wine twice a month now, so the middle of the month and the end of the month. But those that have been coming along regularly, trying to connect them together and get them to play regularly. About 3 months ago, I blocked out tea times. We call them women learner friendly tea times. And we started a group on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. We're trying to get better awareness of that is really our key at the moment, and connect the groups. So our marketing, we're setting up a closed Facebook group for all of the women that have come along that they can join, so they can communicate with each other and arrange to come and play either within those times, or equally they can come and play outside of those times as well. But we're also using that as a tool to educate to our members that these times are for women that are learning golf. And if you want a fast round of golf and a competitive round of golf, it's best to avoid playing behind that group. So that's where we're at the moment. It's really about just increasing our playing opportunities for these learner women, and connecting more of them as that next step. They can pay for play at this stage as well. So we have a pay for play option that they can use. And we see this as a pathway towards membership, but a really good chance for them. And that next step, because they're all saying, okay, how do I do this more? How do I do this more? So we're trying to answer and respond to that question with, this is when you can do it. The Sunday and Friday afternoons were from feedback from the women. So we canvassed all of them and said, when is going to suit? I instinctively thought Saturday, but the feedback was actually, that's terrible. We have kids sport, we have a whole lot of other things going on. Sunday's a really good time. So we dedicate time at 1 o'clock. For those that are working flexibly, like Loie mentioned earlier, they're working from home. They're looking at how they can shape their working week to come along to this Friday afternoon. And if we get enough of them that say, look, we'd love to do something on a Tuesday afternoon because we all work a half day, perfect. We'll look to create a group of them then.
Awesome. Love that. So consulting with the women that are participating to see what they want. That's right. You know, there's no one size fits all approach, right? And I think once you have a group of women that have got a lot of trust in you, and you've got trust in them to be able to have those consultation and feedback loops to be able to design ongoing things to participate in. That's really cool.
Yeah, we've been really honest that we don't have all the answers, that this is new, and yeah, they can help us shape it. It's great.
Nice, love it. And Monga Kiki were going to be here today, but unfortunately couldn't make it. So I thought I would just do a quick whip over. So the process that everybody has followed to create the plans were completing the drop form, the Women and Girls Ambition form, which really is just a series of questions. It takes around 15 minutes to fill out, and it just allows you to kind of think about any potential opportunities that come out of your answers, you know. So you might review, oh, you know, I've got X amount of women and X amount of men on my governance structures. That presents an opportunity for our plan. So going through that process is really, really helpful. Also allows you to create a baseline. You can capture all of this stuff on .golf, but I think there's something really lovely in the process of pulling out those insights and really reflecting on them. So Monga Kiki, at the time that they had filled out this drop form, which was around January, they had 16% of their club membership was women and 25% of their junior members were girls. They have done a heap of work around participation structures. So as I alluded to earlier, they did a bit of a audit on what was already existing in the club, and one of the things they felt was an opportunity was that women had restricted access on weekends and were paying less for their membership because of that. And, you know, if we're looking at providing unrestricted access and having a real inclusive approach to the club, changing those membership structures based on lifestyle was a way forward that they felt. So they put that in place, and then therefore addressed the Saturday to ensure that everybody could participate, compete or play unrestricted on that day. And then they've also did a lot of work on recruiting women and to the golf club. So they initially started with some She Loves Golf Have a Go days. They were regularly participating in our regional series for She Loves Golf. So They had big groups of women coming to play She Loves Golf 6s or 9s that were moving around at different events. They then incorporated some sort of 4 to 6 week learning opportunities for women, and then they also put in their introductory membership and an intermediate membership, they call it, which is essentially another introductory membership, which is 12 months long. At the time they filled this out, they had 70 participants in those two introductory membership categories. They now have 120 women in those membership categories. So a lot of growth and a product that's clearly very appealing. And again, they're a club that are working on and have worked on the systems and structures within the golf club, and also the participation pathways to be able to play as well. Moving forward, they're looking at their course structures. So they're currently, all of their T blocks weren't rated for both men and women. So they're currently rating all of their T blocks for men and women and looking at the language that's used around them. They're exploring additional playing and coaching opportunities, but particularly potentially around girls as well, and putting in some sort of She Loves Golf Twilight pay for play opportunities as well for those people that come to their initiatives. And they're also then looking at how they can give a voice to young people in the club. So ensuring that they can consult with young people when they're making decisions that may affect them or may affect the changes in the club. So that's the plan that they've put in place, 3 things. And as you can see, Hugo could take a pen and he could tick these things off as he's going, which I think is really, really cool action plan. So the development plan, developing an action plan, as I spoke about earlier, and I really do like to emphasize that it's not about creating a big plan that feels like a full-time role. It's about taking key actions that are relevant to your club and your strategy and who you want to engage with that are within the capacity and resource. We have, people that share this ambition from Tara Iti to smaller community-based courses like, we've got golf clubs like Russley, all the way down to clubs very, very rural who are volunteer run. And so we can't be scriptive on an approach that everybody takes, but we can provide examples of actions that clubs might want to take. And you can pick these based on, I guess, going through that drop form and finding some opportunities. So we have given some example action that clubs can take, but of course it is open for clubs to create their own actions. So, these can be anything around implementing year-round initiatives, or it can be as simple as promoting and advocating for It's Okay rules. And we would advise that you share the It's Okay rules and your transitioning guide to getting your handicap with both participants and members, so that members understand that, when someone's kicking a ball out of the tree, they're playing the It's Okay rules, they're new. So, a wide, so they're really that's a really simple action that a club could adopt, all the way around to consultation processes or organizing different events and initiatives. So again, picking what's within your capacity for year 1. And then around the club environment, some potential changes to explore. Just think about things, if you're looking at your governance structures, that's a really big meaty action. That might be the one thing you're going to do, because that could unpack a lot of time and a lot of work into adjusting some of those structures. So that would be a really nice one action, for example, if that's an opportunity that you chose to work on. So keeping that in mind, what's realistic and what you want to focus on for the next year. And again, that can be verbal commitment, or you can have a really lovely plan created. So with our ambition for women and girls, step 1 is, do you share our ambition? And if that's yes, let us know. That's your commitment to this kind of united approach and being part of this big team of 160 clubs and organizations that are all working together. Step 2 is to take action. And that action, that starts with doing our drop form, our Women and Girls Ambition drop form, seeing where your opportunities are, where your strengths are, where there's some things you might want to work on. And the second step is creating a plan. And our regional team or myself can provide golf clubs or organizations with the planning support. So whether that be through a one-on-one session with yourself or with your board, or however you want to run it, we're here to help you plan. Or you might already have a plan. You might say, hey, I've already thought of what I'd like to do. And you let us know that, and we can design that plan for you if you want to share it with your members, or you can let us know what it is. And then we can work on how we can provide additional support. So our support doesn't stop past planning. We're also forming regional networks because, again, we are growing the game. We're growing the pool of women that are playing golf, and we can do that together. We're stronger together, and there's often some synergies. I've ran this workshop with regions who have come away going, they're all working together to run a series of events. So they're doing one a month each, and they're all, running an event series together. So there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration and a lot of opportunity for idea sharing or to share challenges, and the group can help us overcome some of those. So those regional networks will come in really, really helpful. And it's nice to connect over a coffee and some nice morning tea or afternoon tea. So when you come into the network, you'll have that invite to come to those coffees, or if you want to hear more information. So which is all included in the resource center where you'll find this webinar. We also provide a lot of additional support through for young people through our She Loves Golf Experience Guide, which will all be linked within the webinar as well. Any final notes from you both?
Like we've covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
so
scratched the surface almost, really, but we've covered a lot.
I'd really encourage other clubs to reach out to your team, because the support that we've received so far, it's invaluable. And to have someone else to lean on, to bounce off the ears on, it's just super helpful. And yeah, I think all clubs should do it.
Thanks, Valerie.
Yeah, and I think developing, these pathways and doing all of these things is like learning golf. It takes a long time, and there's lots of little steps. So I'd just encourage them to start today, because it can be a bit of a slow burn, and it can take some time to change some critical things. So the sooner you start, the better off you'll be. Even if it's something small, just do something small today.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that contributes to creating a better experience for women and girls in the game, and it could be something really simple. And we're all in it together. I love that it's one big team of people, all with a united approach, working towards the same outcomes. I think there's something really special in that. And I know, Dylan, you'd mentioned before the ambition being able to pull a group of people together to really share ideas and become a team, being important. Which is awesome.
Yeah, just having that focus nationwide. The club down the road, it's the forefront of everyone's mind. It's really good.
Wicked. Shall we close with karakia? I te hui whaia te matoronga kia marama. Kia whataki na mahi katoa. Tumaia tukaha aroha atu aroha mai. Tato e tato katoa. Ome hui taiki e.